So it looks like payment processors are overstepping their boundaries once again. Visa and Mastercard are deciding they want to play the morality police. They're going to decide what things you're allowed to buy and what things they don't like so you can't buy them. This X-post by Niche Gamer says Steam updates its rules to comply with payment processor censorship, purges multiple titles, details below. The myth of artistic freedom. I want to draw it, I want to see it, I don't. Isn't there some random payment processor you forgot to ask? When we check the Niche Gamer article, it says Steam, the largest PC gaming platform, has recently updated their rules for developers to prohibit content that may run afoul of the nebulous standards of payment processors. According to Automaton, the new rules remain vague and directly mention how this restriction is mandated by payment processors such as card networks and banks, saying that developers should not submit content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. In recent months, payment processors such as Visa and Mastercard have been throwing their weight around to try and effectively ban content they find disagreeable. Sites in both Japan and the West have been hit with these restrictions. Victims include Patreon, Fansly, and Japanese retailers such as DLSite. After Fansly effectively banned certain VTubers and content creators, many of them moved to Rplay. And Rplay is a platform where a lot of VTubers are going now to do their NSFW content like ASMR streams or just NSFW arts and things like that. You can see they made this post which says NSFW allowed, VTuber supported, furry welcomed. Rplay is your space to create freely. Japan has been particularly targeted by these efforts. Earlier this year, payment processors allegedly withheld funds from developers who sold their game on Steam based solely on their game's objectionable content. As a result of being targeted, Japanese retailers and lawmakers are becoming the largest obstacle to payment processor censorship, with free speech activist Councilman Yamada Taro and former Prime Minister Fumio Kishida calling out payment processors as the problem. Furthermore, multiple adult games were removed from Steam in a short period, likely coinciding with the new rules update. It's unclear what chilling effects these rules will have on Steam's burgeoning adult games market. And I think a lot of the titles that have been banned so far are titles that not many people care too much about, but that's really besides the point when it comes to something like this. It's the principle of payment processors being allowed to decide what things you can and cannot purchase with your money. Like if you look at most of the titles that have been nixed so far, I think that they're kind of niche, corn games, which don't have a lot of fans. Some of them are AI slop, everything like that, but it doesn't really matter because it's a game that you don't care about today and it's something that you actually like tomorrow. A visual novel or something like that, some kind of Edo game that the people at the top over at Visa and Mastercard think is problematic. Asmongold chimed in on this saying, payment processor monopolistic censorship is one of the biggest unchecked cartels right now. Regulation is needed to either break up these companies or guarantee a degree of service. It's not a free market when every company operates collectively. And I think generally speaking, everybody can understand that this is like not really a good thing. It's just these companies trying to flex their muscles and see how much they can get away with and how much backlash there's actually going to be, because they do control like 90% of online transactions, Visa and Mastercard. And as much as people will advocate for cryptocurrency in specifically cases like this is the textbook example of where it would be useful, there's still not that much adoption for crypto in day-to-day transactions, especially because of the fees and the price fluctuations, even for Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency. Now, there are some platforms that are trying to implement crypto into their payment options like DLSite. They have DL Pay Crypto where you can use that in order to buy points for DLSite, which you can use those points to buy all the stuff that's on DLSite. You know, VNs, whatever it is. And while I think this is good and it saves them from being screwed over in a lot of situations, I do not think that people should have to do this because credit card companies or payment processors are blocking what they can buy with their fiat currency. It's a massive overstep of their boundaries where they just get to decide what you are and are not allowed to buy based on what they think is problematic, not even based on the actual laws of what it is legal or illegal to purchase, just what the top brass at these mega corporations feel like allowing you to purchase. Like it devalues the currency. It devalues your money. That simple. Money that you can only utilize to buy specific things that a payment processor says you're allowed to buy doesn't really seem like normal money. It's more like a gift card or a coupon. These two companies have a complete monopoly over 90% of online payments. I thought we had laws against monopolies and duopolies to prevent this very thing. Yeah, so this is what happens when you have a company or only a few companies becoming pretty much the infrastructure for payments. If they decide arbitrarily that they do not like something, they can block payments for that thing, which means you can't purchase it, which means you're not going to be able to get it unless it's given away for free. You have Visa and Mastercard playing morality police. You're not allowed to like this thing that I don't like. That's what they're doing, and it's unacceptable. There's also the claim going around that this is due to an NGO called Collective Shout, which is apparently some feminist organization that has problems with certain types of depictions in video games, and they have claimed to have brought this to the attention of payment processors, leading to censorship of games content that they consider to be misogynistic. So it seems like this is a feminist organization based out of Australia, and they seem to be focusing on getting eroge taken down from Steam, which can range from the incest titles, the AI slop that you might see, all the way over to visual novels like Nekopata. Like, again, they're never going to stop at the things that you don't like. It could be any game, any title with a depiction that they're not fond of that gets targeted next. Madame Savvy called out a blog post made by the organization, saying Collective Shout has labeled me a man because they couldn't imagine a woman actually defying them. Collective Shout has labeled me a man because I am a sex trader. And Collective Shout won't answer my question because they assume I am a man. Naturally, they also blocked me. I'm so tired of feminist groups getting to push companies around, weaponizing language and law, and focusing on fiction instead of promoting the family unit and changing the culture of how parents use the internet. They are back on the grind of video game bad, but instead of violence, it's now sex. They write a whole lot of drivel to say we can't separate fiction and reality, but we all know they don't actually care about that. Not a peep about payment processors servicing Hollywood, full of grape and misogyny. Not a peep of them servicing Diddy's websites. They really think 1,000 emails demands them an audience and to be taken seriously. But when thousands more push back against them, they want to brush it off? And you can see Collective Shout made a next post which says, we're calling on payment processors to stop profiting from grape, sexual torture, incest, and child abuse themed games, so naturally, misogynistic gamers have doubled down in defense of their grape games. When men who claim this grape simulation game, along with other misogynistic content they consume, has no bearing on real-world behaviors, send us sexist abuse and threats, we can't help but notice the irony. And then as an example of these misogynistic men that they're talking about, they screenshot a Savvy post that says, you're a gross little pro-censorship piggy. Tell me, how does this help the woman being raped in the UK by men who don't play games? Reset the clock, 0 days since an NGO has failed to separate fiction and reality. I don't know what these guys hope to achieve by banning these video games on Steam, but it will probably have the same effect of making sure that kids don't play games like Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto because of the violence in them, and that effect is nothing because nobody actually plays those games and looks at that stuff that they do in the game and says, you know what, I should do all of those things in real life. But to these people, it's more about exerting power over others and trying to sanitize media, and then when they get something banned, they pat themselves on the back like they actually did something valuable. And people are already predicting, rightfully so, that this censorship is going to go a lot further. With meme arts like this, pathetic gamers, we're taking away all your stupid games. No more Andy and Lele, no more Omori, no more Grand Theft Auto 6, no more mouthwashing, no more Detroit Become Human, and no more Baldur's Gate 3. It doesn't matter if it's small or optional, we're banning all of it. But until there's regulations that are made to stop credit card companies from being able to do this, moral police the types of things that you are allowed to purchase based on arbitrary values set by feminist NGOs or the people that work at these organizations, the top brass, we're just going to have to deal with stuff like this happening, which is not a very good thing. So the only alternative that does exist is the adoption of cryptocurrencies, which again, the problem with those being the large price fluctuations in pretty much all of the coins, but especially the smaller altcoins, and the fees and stuff like that. Like, have you ever tried to buy something with Ethereum? Forget about it. But platforms like DLSci are trying to adopt crypto, so this may be the way to go for some of you guys out there who want an uninterrupted way of purchasing the stuff that you want, without Visa or Mastercard playing nanny and deciding what you're allowed to do with your money. But that's all I have for this video. You guys let me know your thoughts, and if there's any shift in the policy or anything crazy that ends up getting on that ban list, I'll make an update video. If you found this video useful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Also join the community Discord, link in the description below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.